first nominee, or the first inductee, I should say, into the 2013 Wiffling Hall of Fame class is none other than Noah Manilow. Mandinga could not be with us today due to a prior commitment at an out-of-state recreational camp. We wanted to fly him in for the ceremony, but we just couldn't afford that. We also considered Skyping him in, but we couldn't afford that either. So my son Oliver has volunteered to bring his golden bat and ball to his home in Roscoe Village later in the summer. That's about the best we could do for him. A few words about Mandinga. This kid could play ball. As natural an athlete as ever played the game of wiffle ball, Mandinga was Kelly leaking it since 3rd grade. He was the total package: speed, power, and goofiness. The tools that separate good from great in this league. He was always in the finals of the big-time events like the Derby and Fastest Whiffler. He'd win some of these events, but not all of them. Not because he couldn't win them all, but probably he could have, but because his mind would wander to other things during the critical moments of these events. This Mandinga was no one-dimensional player. He thought about deeper things than wiffle ball, things like ice cream, and that song, Call Me Maybe. Mandinga has left us now, but he is not forgotten. We will always remember his smiling face and easy way. We will always remember the t-shirt he wore with a photograph of himself on it. We love Mandinga. Give it up for Noah Mandinga Manilow, member of the Wiffleball Hall of Fame. The next inductee is Connor Don Heiser Giovenco. When the conversation turned to who is the greatest whiffler of all time recently, remarkably, no one mentioned Don Heiser. Connor Don Heiser Giovenco had his career cut short in the summer of 2012 when a horrific Little League injury put Heiser in neck traction, confined to a bed for the entire summer. It took him a whole year to walk again, but when he did, he came back with a vengeance, destroying every wiffle ball thrown at him. Everyone talks about Lopes as being the greatest of all time, but maybe, had Heiser not cracked his neck last summer, they'd be talking about him. Personally, I feared Heiser more than any other hitter I ever faced, mostly because he was so tall and quiet and would poker face you whenever you made a joke, even if it was a joke at someone else's expense. But boy, could this young man, with an emphasis on the word man, hit a wiffle ball. His legacy will always be defined by his dominance in Lord of the Flies, however. In spring training 2013, Don Heiser won every single Lord of the Flies for the entire week. It was a joke. It was almost like he was someone's father out there. I give you Connor Don Heiser Giovenco, member of the 2013 Wiffleball Hall of Fame class. One time, years ago, when he was in 2nd grade, Jai Chow recited to me the entire CTA bus and train schedule. He had all the routes and bus numbers memorized and could tell you when the Brown line made its last stop of the night at Sedgwick. He was a whiffling savant, like Raymond Babbitt in Rain Man, or that mathematics genius John Nash in A Beautiful Mind. True enough, Jai Chow had a beautiful wiffle ball mind. Always a stickler for the rules and past precedent, Jai would be the first to the scene of a controversial play, supplying the physics of why a home run could not have happened in certain wind conditions, or how in 1962 a man patented a device that could lay an algorithm for a better umpire's clicker. But to say nothing about Jai Chow's game on the field would be inappropriate. Jai was solid, rock solid at the plate, and rock solid in the field. He had the all-around game. It helped that he knew all the probabilities and statistics of hitters' counts and whip and coda, but he still had to hit and catch that ball. Jai did, and did it with the best of them. I will miss Jai Chow dearly. I will miss seeing him shuffling onto the field as I was still setting up at 8:45 a.m. 45 full minutes before drop-off, lunch in hand, while his father pulled away from Cafe Brower cul-de-sac in his early 2000s Nissan Altima without even acknowledgement of my having received his son. I give you 2013 Hall of Famer, Jai Chow.
Where? Oh, I remember that.
Jai always had the $20. Jack McNabola. Jack McNabola was one of the first Whifflers ever immortalized in video on the website. Even today, if you go to the vid page of the website, you can see the infamous J-Mac smack footage of him taking Teasley deep in Old Brower Field. Way back in the day. It's a classic. And so was J-Mac. There wasn't a teammate award when J-Mac was playing the game, but if there was, he'd have won it. No one could rally his team like J-Mac, who often invoked the spirit of Ray Lewis in his pregame pep talks. This powerful and stirring ritual was a moving sight to behold. But unfortunately, it was usually not enough as his teams went on to lose many, many games. But J-Mac put in a lot of years, like a lot of these guys. He honed his craft, the Ray Lewis pep talk and the garish eye black, after years of tinkering with his whiffling identity. By his last at bat, he had become who he had always been destined to become, a leader, an older boy amongst younger boys. And this is the man you don't see here today because he couldn't make it. I give you J-Mac. Jack McNabola, 2013 Hall of Fame. And now to those that are in attendance. Theo Bufford is a first ballot Hall of Famer. There wasn't much discussion from the writers as to whether or not he was deserving. He clearly was. But Theo, who I don't understand why we never called him Theodore, got a late start to his career. He came in during the prime of his career, having cut his early years on the dusty fields of Hamlin Park with the likes of Ben Smith, Octavio Lopez, and Mandinga. So when he arrived, he wasn't a true rookie. He could already play this game. But in a few years, Bufford quickly acquired the innings, stats, and trophies needed to be here today, enshrined in the Whiffling Hall of Fame. But the reason why Buff was such an easy choice for the Hall of Fame was just as much about his character as his crack of the bat. There have been lots of gentlemen that roam these fields, but none quite as gentlemanly as Theo Bufford. A true class act, a great teammate, a strong leader, Theo Bufford is who you'd want on your team when the game was on the line. Not because he'd get that winning hit, which he did many times, but because he'd be there to pat you on the back when you went down whiffling to end whiffing to end the game. There's no greater quality I know than that. It also helped tremendously to get him into the Hall of Fame that he reminds us of Henry Rigsby. His career ended way too early. I give you 2013 Wiffleball Hall of Famer, Theo Bufford.
She's so beautiful.
Biscuits and whatever happened to BC?
High five! Theo, you said that in the game.
Biscuits and chicken.
If you go by the years in the league, you go by years in this league, this guy doesn't have the numbers. In fact, I can't seem to find any record of him ever playing before this week. Though I know that he came many times. Even he and his mother don't know the last time he was here. I think we've calculated it at about 3 years. She said he missed a year somewhere, maybe last year, but it remains a complete mystery. Like a child that was abducted and then later returned home, like J.C. Dugard, this young man has come back to us. I always say it's not what you did for me yesterday, it's what you've done for me today. Today this man is dominating the game. He's like the Gale Sayers of Wiffleball. He had a career cut short, or did he? But it doesn't matter, because he dominated while he played. So that's why he's going in. I've had to revise this speech a little in the past 2 hours because this man is now responsible for what will always be known, in my mind, as the greatest catch in the history of Wiffleball camp. Of course, I'm talking about Hall of Fame inductee, the great, legendary Teddy Higgins.
That was amazing. It was awesome. I saw that right with my very own eye.
No! Oh, I was thinking something swamp on it.
Yeah, you said.
For the past 3 years, Jacob Conroy has established himself as one of the premier whifflers to ever play this game. He is the consummate professional, carrying himself with class and simply doing his job game in and game out. Not a showboat or a braggart, Conroy walked softly and carried a big stick. That big stick being his Wiffleball. Also, Conroy has always had a lush head of hair. Thick and clean, longer than the average child. Furthermore, Conroy is one of the most mature whifflers to ever live.
Good one.
One of 3 or 4 whifflers, along with B.C. Cohen and A.C. Hargis, to walk home after camp all by himself. Conroy ends his illustrious career today in the top 10 in home runs, runs scored, and RBIs. Conroy likes to take his hacks and was never one to do the loge, as they say. As such, Conroy led the league in each of his seasons in fewest walks. He also played a Berlin Wall-esque left field, a staunch defender of the fence, finishing second, only behind Owen Schatt, in most home runs ever robbed in his career. When the conversation turns, as it always does, to who are the top 10 whifflers of all time, Jacob Conroy is always mentioned in those talks. I give you 2013 Whiffling Hall of Fame inductee Jacob Conroy. No, don't look at me, look at her. Congratulations. At some point, Octavio stopped being Octavio and started simply being Lopes. Lopes. A lot of people wonder where that name comes from. There was a great player for the A's and Dodgers in the 70s and 80s named Davey Lopes.
Yes.
He was a good fielder and base stealer. He couldn't hit for power at all. So in those ways, he's nothing like Octavio. In fact, the only way in which he is like Octavio is his last name is the same except for the last letter. And that is how Octavio became known as Lopes. Over the years, there's been a cry often heard at this camp. Every week for the past 4 or 5 years, in fact. You know the cry I'm talking about. Who's got the
Rights to Lopes!
Those weeks, we didn't know if Lopes was going to show up. His parents would sort of sign him up, but his busy semi-pro baseball schedule would often change his plans. So there would always be talk about whether or not Octavio would show up. And if he did, who would get the rights to add him to their team? You see, the reason why everyone wanted the rights to Lopes is because this guy could change the game to one swing. Almost every swing he would swing would change the game. He was a solid player, coached by the great Manuel Lopes.
Except for that game where you struck him out.
Disrespectful! He was a solid player, coached by the great Manuel Lopes from the moment he arrived at camp. But over the years, he became a monster hitter, what I call a remorseless hitting machine. Not human. Simply put, though, Octavio Lopes is the most dominant hitter this game has ever known.
No.
Considering those already in the Whiffling Hall of Fame, those like Joao Pedro Weber, also known as Joao, Leped, Spenny Marks, that is a huge compliment. As a grown man, throwing my best stuff, I cannot beat the mighty Lopes. And I'm not ashamed to say that at all. I give you Lopes, Octavio Lopez, 2013. we have a Wiffler who wants to say a few words after his induction, and this is that special case, and we'd like to have Octavio Lopes come up and read a prepared statement this minute. Come on up, Octavio.
Greatness is not given, it is taken. This is a quote from a wise man. Anyone can hit homers and field grounders, but what truly separates good players from great players is attitude. When I was a youngster, I was far from a decent player in baseball, and even in Wiffleball. I did not stop trying to become a great player. I just kept working and practicing, and soon enough I got better and better. One thought I always have in mind is there is always someone better than you. So always work your hardest every day. A reporter asked Bo Jackson, how does it feel to be the greatest all-around athlete? And Bo Jackson replied, there is always someone better than you. The great Bo Jackson said that. Personally, in my opinion, though, I think he is the greatest all-around athlete. But he always strives to be better. There is also a famous quote by Willie Mays, tough is being good every day. I like this quote because it goes to show you that no one just wakes up one day and becomes a good player. I practice every day for hours at my local facility, Bash. I go there so much I consider it a second home. But the reason I do all this practicing and playing is only for one reason, because it is fun. I have fun practicing for hours every day, and that is what a lot of people do not understand, is that I enjoy the game and I respect it. Bill's Whiffling Camp is my favorite camp to go to. Every summer I am more excited and pumped to get back on the field playing at my favorite camp. Bill's Whiffling Camp just doesn't compare to any other camp out there. It is fun and laid back. I hope I'll get to see many of you next year at Bill's Whiffling Camp. Always respect the game and have a positive attitude. I would like to thank the Whiffling staff this year and previous Whiffling staffs for all the hard work they have put in and dedication. So thank you Teddy, TC, Catherine, Pebbles, Owen, Julian, Loesch, AC, the O'Donnell and Ely family, and of course a special thank you for the founder Bill O'Donnell. Please give the Whiffling staff a round of applause. Today is not a sad day. It is just simply part of the process of the one and only greatest Wiffleball camp on the face of the earth. Thank you.
That is the greatest speech I've ever heard.
So
Especially
touching.
the part about me and how great the camp is.
So touching.
I have a distinct feeling.
Second speech I ever heard after the one heard Brooks say.
I have a distinct feeling that's not going to be that young man's last speech. We'll be making speeches like that for a long time. Thank you, Octavio. That was really, really nice. Really, really nice. Next, we have two more. Seems to me Ben Smith has been with me the longest of any Whiffler. That's because he has. Like BC Cohen before him, he came every summer since his rookie season. But unlike BC or any other Whiffler before him, Ben Smith never missed a week. Never! Ever! He never even missed a day. He never even left early for a dentist appointment. As such, Ben Smith is the Cal Ripken of the Wiffleball camp. The Iron Horse, playing more innings than any other player ever. Oh no, he got it up! Though many Whifflers have put in the innings, not as many as Ben, it's simply not just a matter of innings with Ben Smith. It's what he did during those innings. He hit, oh yes, he hit. He hit for power. He hit for average. He hit in the clutch. We've been poring over the statistics back at the Whiffling headquarters, going over the old scorebooks. And though we can't account for every single one of his at-bats, we can say with assurance that Ben Smith is a career leader in hits, home runs, and RBIs. He retires today with the illustrious Wiffleball Triple Crown. Career leader in those three important statistics. Without choice, we're retiring him. For more than any individual accomplishment on the field, Ben Smith retires as a true gentleman and ambassador of the game. He has not waited until he retires to begin mentoring the younger Wifflers. I've seen him take many under his wing and pass on the knowledge that he has gained here over the years. Ben Smith is simply the greatest young man that has ever lived. Maybe that's. Yeah, sorry, Oliver. I give you the Iron Horse of the Wiffleball camp, the great Ben Smith, 2008. I think we got a championship in toilet bowl game.
Yeah.
But I need your attention for one more. There's a saying about the months of March and April, or maybe it's April and May. I think it goes something like, in like a lion, out like a lamb. I'm not sure what that means, but I think it means the weather's usually bad at the beginning of that month, and then at the end of that month, it's nice. Or problem, whatever. I don't know. What I'm trying to say is that Bailey Mitchell came into this league as a young man who spit fire and urinated vinegar. He was feisty, and he didn't like to lose. Today, that young man is a gentle lamb of a child. I try to tell my son, Oliver, that it's not whether you win or lose, it's how much you goof off that matters. Bailey is, to me, the poster child for this camp. He no longer worries about winning or losing, but only whether or not the radio is tuned to his station. When he hits home runs, which he does aplenty, he runs the bases backwards. It's sort of mocking the pitcher and the other team, but nobody minds because you can tell it's all in fun. Bailey, once a lion, is now all about the fun. You youngsters out there, take a look at this man. This is the man you want to be. This man, despite a horrific, debilitating peanut allergy, is living his life to the fullest. I hope one of you guys steps it up next year and becomes the next Bailey Mitchell. This camp is going to need one. We have a special Hall of Fame plaque or trophy, whatever you want to call it, for Bailey. He just didn't seem right to give him a bat and a ball. So what we've given him is Raul Jr. Raul Sr. Raul runs forever yours. 2013 Bailey. Raul. Doesn't have any batteries.
Raul lives!
That's hilarious.
Oh, my God!
Take a look. If you'd all stand up, Hall of Famers, all the Hall of Famers would stand up. Take a look. Take a look at the group you see here today. Older boys, no longer boys, but not quite men, on the second act of their childhood. Unfortunately, they've aged out and can no longer act out their weird fantasies here at my camp. But they are welcome to return next summer as young men willing to work for less than minimum wage, under the table paychecks, as mentors to the rest of the league. Kind of what Tom Skerritt did with his career in Top Gun, only not as glamorous or as important to the country. So please, raise your glasses. Help me salute the 2013 Wiffleball Hall of Fame class.